CNN leading with this story at this hour. Comey's revelation that he pushed to leak a conversation with Trump has emerged as a highlight of his testimony. That is evidence alone that the left didn't get what they wanted out of that hearing with Comey today. If that's their headline right now, that's a problem for them. We're joined right now by James Herson. Glad to have him back on the show. Of course, best-selling author, commentator, website writer extraordinaire. And James, great to have you on the show. How are you?
Oh, it's great to be with you. Yeah, what an amazing thing. I mean, the people in Hollywood are jealous of the Comey show and the ratings of the Comey show and all the stations that the Comey show was on, and in the sports bars on top of everything else.
I heard they were doing like happy hours in L.A.
Oh, they were, in L.A. and all over. I mean, yeah, it was an event, and people in Hollywood just can't handle more disappointment. But they sure were disappointed. I mean, they thought this was going to be the Trump administration's finish. Comey was going to take him down and finish him, slam dunk him, so to speak. He's tall enough. And, they did get something out of it. They got some political capital. But on the legal side, they got nothing. I mean, actually, they got more evidence of potential crimes committed by Loretta Lynch and Comey himself than they did on Donald Trump. And so it's a terrible disappointment to the Democrats.
Yeah, maybe Kathy Griffin could headline one of those breakfast happy hours since she's desperate these days.
I'm sure her schedule is open.
Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like it. I'm guessing that they're probably still just in gasping for breath after the climate accord was jettisoned by the president. What are they doing on the left coast about that? Probably Governor Moonbeam's already planning his own accord, right? With Paris.
He is. He's worked out an accord directly with China that they're going a non-binding agreement, of course, but one that bypasses the president, much like most of the municipalities of the left, the people that live inside the left-wing bubble, people in L.A., San Francisco, Seattle.
Well, St. Louis. Our mayor announced the same thing here in St. Louis.
Well, sure. No, I mean, urban areas tend to be governed by Democrats, and so the Democratic Party wants to make the Paris Climate Accord withdrawal into something that is, somehow detrimental, when in fact it's just a very rotten deal, bad for the United States, which it has a bad name. Paris Climate Accord should be the Paris, basically lower the standard of living in the United States Accord. That's what it is.
Or the Great Paris Heist. Wealth. Yeah, the Great Paris Heist is what it should be for U.S. taxpayers. Like yeah, I wonder for states like Hawaii who have announced that they've passed a law now committing to the Paris Climate Accords, and states like California that have these grandiose visions of a single-payer healthcare system that they're going to finance all by themselves, that's going to double the size of their budget all of a sudden. I wonder how they're going to pay for all this stuff, because the Paris Climate Accord wasn't cheap to participate in that if you were not a third world country.
No. If you were a third world country, you didn't have to do anything except keep on polluting, keep on basically using your cheap labor to decimate the job market in the Western world, and all of the draconian rules were placed mostly on the United States of America. And because our standard of living, according to the global international community, is too high. We shouldn't have that high a standard of living, so they want to lower it. And frankly, there's a lot of people in the Democrat Party who agree with that.
Yeah.
And so, how are they going to pay for it? But that question is not asked. I mean, in California, as you pointed out, they're talking about having a single-payer system that will cost more than double the entire budget of California. How are you going to pay for it is not in the lexicon of the left. It's just do it and figure that out later after you're bankrupt.
Well, fortunately, there were no awards. I think there was like country music awards last night, but there were no Hollywood awards handed out, or we would have had to listen to people bellyache about that.
Oh, no, but they have the social media to go out and bellyache. And of course, when it had to do with the Paris Accord, it was essentially a bunch of celebrity geopolitical experts and climatologists. We didn't know that. Leo DiCaprio is a climatologist, and Alec Baldwin, Michael Moore, and Cher, and all these people. And they're basically telling us it's over for us. It's the end of the world. The planet is doomed because the president pulled completely out of a non-binding agreement that was a rotten agreement for the American worker. It's quite astounding. But in one quarter of Hollywood, there's a place I used to work, Paramount Studios, and they have a movie coming out, which the star, of course, is that great icon of the silver screen, Al Gore. He is essentially an environmental cult leader, but this played right into their hands. The movie comes out in weeks. So Al Gore went out and did the Sunday shows, issued statements, and the movie happens to be about the Paris Climate Accord.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah, and the role that Al Gore played, this key role as, the prophet of global warming in the past.
That's going to be a flop. James Herson, I'm out of time. I appreciate your time. JamesHerson.com. Look for his articles on Newsmax. James, have a great day.
All right. Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Good to hear from James and get his take on it. He's an attorney as well. So I wanted to be sure that I got that in there. All right.